Guatemalans take to the streets again for the third consecutive day in rejection of what they have described as a coup d'etat. The Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin met in Russia's coastal city of Sochi to discuss common topics of interest. And Gabon's coup leader, General Brice Oligui Nguema, was sworn in as interim president by the Constitutional Court judges. Hello from the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba. This is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. The Cuban government has confirmed the discovery of a new top-quality oil well in the province of Matanzas. The state-owned company, Unión Cuba Petróleo, said that the exploration of the Alameda 2 well, located in Block 9, was undertaken by the Australian company Melbana Energy. They have confirmed that the new well has the capacity to produce up to 1,100 barrels of oil per day. The head of the exploration crew said that the crude oil found is a lighter, thus contains less sulfur than the kind found in the wells of the Havana Matanzas Strip. Cuba uses 44% of its domestic crude oil and 8% of its accompanying gas to generate domestic energy. Guatemalans take to the streets again on Monday for the third consecutive day in rejection of what they have described as a coup d'etat. Thousands have marched since Saturday throughout the national territory against what they call the corrupt pact. This Monday, as in previous days, they will also demand the resignation of the prosecutor Consuelo Porras and the special prosecutor Rafael Currucuchiche, who are accused of orchestrating a coup d'etat. Monday demonstrations coincide with the beginning of the handing over process of the outgoing President Alejandro Giammattei that will be supervised by the Organization of American States and the Department of State. Also, several organizations call to mobilize in the name of democracy. The political and institutional crisis affecting Guatemala also reached the legislative branch. As a result, the Congressional Board will analyze the re-establishment of the Semilla Party. Previously, the Congress disowned the members of the Semilla movement and declared them as an independent branch, limiting their functions. The board's decision was based on a notification from the Attorney General's office. On Sunday, a few hours before President Alejandro Giammattei begins the transition process under the observation of the Organization of American States and the Department of State of the United States, informed that they will proceed to make consultations on the suspension. Meanwhile, the advances of the parliamentary directive have been dismissed by the president-elect. In Honduras, a special commission will investigate former prosecutors of the public ministry as ordered by Luis Redondo, the president of the National Congress. The congressperson informed on Sunday that the special commission will have the power to immediately investigate the former heads of the public ministry and their participation by action or omission in the structures of organized crime. Likewise, the commission will also review possible links with acts of public or private corruption and the management of non-government organizations used by political parties to capture funds or launder assets from drug trafficking and terrorism. The government of Colombia and the general staff of the FARC dissidents concluded on Sunday a preliminary meeting to reach a ceasefire agreement. The two delegations, meeting for 3 days in the department of Cauca, agreed to set up a dialogue table. The details will be confirmed next September 17th in a new meeting. Andrea Bendaño, the political chief of the guerrilla group, confirmed to the Colombian media that they have invited Juvenal Ovidio Ricardo Palmera, better known as Simón Trinidad, to be part of the table. For his part, the government's chief negotiator, Camilo González, explained the tasks that were accomplished in the meeting. In Brazil, a collision between trucks on Saturday in the state of Paraná left at least 7 people dead and several injured. According to the state authorities, the accident was due to the collision of several trucks that ran over several private vehicles on a highway in the district of São Luís do Puruna, located in Balsa Nova, a municipality in the metropolitan region of Curitiba. Authorities also detailed that the accident may have occurred due to weather conditions in the area, where it was raining and there was heavy fog. On Monday, the government of Colombia and the National Liberation Army, ELN, closed the fourth cycle of peace talks in Caracas, Venezuela, as they are seeking a negotiated solution to the internal conflict. This phase of the dialogue began on August 14th, under the premise that civil society's participation in the process is paramount in the transformation, also is key for peace and the national agreement. Among the most important agreements of this process is the creation of the National Participation Committee, installed on August the 3rd, and the 6-month bilateral ceasefire in Colombia, which came into effect on the same day. As for the bilateral, national, and temporary ceasefire, it implies implementing the monitoring and verification mechanism to prevent incidents, solve problems, reduce the intensity of the conflict, and improve the humanitarian situation of the population. While the economic war against Venezuela harmed many households, this new scenario made retired chemistry teacher Rosa rethink her possibilities and her talents. She took academia knowledge and her crafting skills and turned her apartment into a laboratory, a factory, and family enterprise venue. At the same time, and today, her cleaning products compete in local markets. Let's know more about her story thanks to the following material by our colleagues Adriana Sibori and Marcos da Silva. Enjoy.
Through our social networks, we received a message from a retired teacher.
I invite you to learn about our products, how we make them and how we produce them.
Among so many buildings, Rosa guides us to her property. In a 72 square meters apartment, she installed a handicraft factory with all the corresponding permits.
In 2016, with the economic war, there were so many queues to get flour, butter, milk, all those things. It was horrible, so I told my husband at that time, let's produce cleaning products because we are getting hit.
They started with just personal hygiene products. In 7 years, they established a whole workshop. Together with her niece, they prepared the orders. The accuracy in the combination of ingredients is the key to a perfect elaboration. The coconut oil for toilet soap. Angie already knew the business, but joined her aunt's enterprise.
As the demand for the product increased, she needed more help, more hands on deck. So here I am to support her in packaging part and soap production. We share the tasks, we collaborate well, and we are not fearful of the problems that may arise. We always look for a way to turn things around and keep on going.
The pandemic opened a new world. They collaborated with the community, they taught, they sterilized environments. Chlorine and disinfectants were in those years, and still are, some of their star products.
I am chemistry teacher, so this is easy for me to elaborate all these things. And knowledge is not for oneself. You have to share it with everyone you can. Because knowledge has to be transmitted. We Venezuelans, in spite of our weaknesses and difficulties, we always grow.
And Yulimar's trademark seems to keep on growing. The brand of the cleaning artisan can be found in every nearby store.
Marcos da Silva y Adriana Sibori, TeleSUR, Caracas.
And you can find more episodes of our series Venezuela on the Move in YouTube and other platforms. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find the news in different formats, news updates and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. On Monday, the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin met in Russia's coastal city of Sochi. Erdogan paid a one-day working visit to Sochi, as confirmed by the Turkish office, with the reactivation of the agreement on the Black Sea grain deal as the main topic of the meeting. Additionally, the Turkish and the Russian heads of state discussed other issues on the regional and global agenda, including bilateral trade, the conflict in Ukraine, and the tensions on the African continent. At the end of the day, both heads of state will hold a press conference where it is expected that some change in the grain agreement will be announced. Russia withdrew from the deal on July 17th due to the non-compliance of the West.
Of course, we will not bypass the issues related to the Ukrainian crisis. I know you intend to raise questions about the grain deal. We are open to negotiations on this issue.
For his part, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan stressed the importance of the meeting for the resumption of the Black Sea grain deal.
Of course, the most important step. Today, everyone is looking at the grain corridor issue in the Turkey-Russia relations during this visit. They are waiting to see what will come out from there today regarding the grain corridor. I believe that the message to be given to the world with the press conference after our meeting will be very important, especially a step towards the underdeveloped African countries.
Now we move on to other topics. The president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, announced on Sunday the dismissal of his defense minister, Alexei Reznikov. The head of state has nominated Rustem Umerov, the current director of the State Property Fund, to replace him. The announcement made by the president, who claims to have consulted his international partners on this decision, comes amidst a series of statements inside and outside Ukraine about the failure of the counteroffensive, problems with recruitment, doubts about the continuity of support, and even suspicions on corruption and betrayal. However, the Ukrainian president assured that the causes of the decision have to do with the exhaustion caused by more than 500 days of war. In Sweden, at least 15 people were arrested during a public event for the burning of the Quran in the city of Malmö. Authorities reported that both the men responsible for the call for the public burning of the Holy Book, as well as the people who tried to prevent the burning, were preventively detained in order to maintain public order. According to police information, the people arrested are suspected of violent disorder and sabotage. The man was identified as 37-year-old Solven Momika, known for promoting this type of aggression against the Muslim community. Now we move on to other topics. In Spain, the state weather agency issued severe thunderstorm warnings for Madrid and the surrounding areas. Forecasts of torrential rains in the capital led authorities to close train lines, cancel a Spanish League soccer match, and order the population to stay indoors. Meanwhile, emergency services authorities reported that the city activated protocols to prepare for potential flooding. The agency sent text messages to the people of Madrid with instructions to stay indoors and avoid the use of vehicles, and expressed that it is expected to become an exceptional and anomalous situation from the point of view of the rainfall. TeleSUR English launches its own videos on demand site for you to go and revisit our interviews, the top stories, the special broadcastings, and more. Just go to the top left corner in our website homepage and click on the video option to access our VOD platform. And now we will have a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. On Monday, Gabon's coup leader, General Brice Oligui Nguema, was sworn in as interim president by Constitutional Court judges. In a televised ceremony, General Brice Oligui Nguema, who led a coup last week that toppled Gabon's 55-year-old dynasty, took the oath of office as interim president, promising to hold free and transparent elections after an unspecified period. Oligui, head of the elite Republican Guard, led officers in a coup on Wednesday against President Ali Bongo Ondimba, ending the family ruling since 1967. The ousting came just moments after Bongo, 64, was proclaimed a winner in last month's presidential election, a result called as fraud by the opposition. The power grip in Gabon is the sixth coup d'etat in an African country in the last 3 years. And Niger's National Safeguard Council Board has deployed its troops around the French military base in the country's capital, Niamey. Since the overthrow of the President Mohamed Bazoum, thousands of Nigerians have supported the junta's decisions regarding the presence of French troops in the country. For 3 days, daily demonstrations have been taking place in demand that they leave the country. In Paris, French President Emmanuel Macron has made defiant speeches about the permanence of the troops and their ambassador in the African nation. For her part, French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna confirmed the military presence and also said that French troops have not been able to complete their mission due to Niger's lack of cooperation. In South Africa, 77 people have died in a fire that broke out on Thursday, August 31st, in a residential building in the center of Johannesburg. According to the Health Ministry of the Central South African province of Gauteng, where Johannesburg is located, of the hundreds of people injured in the event, 31 are still hospitalized in a serious condition due to the severity of their injuries. Meanwhile, the National Assembly said it will conduct an investigation into the accident, parallel to the one already being carried out by the police and other authorities. Relevant committees of Parliament will be immediately assigned to oversee the immediate and long-term efforts of various branches of government in response to this disaster. And the Syrian military forces countered a terrorist attack by foreign troops in the west of Aleppo province. The army repelled this Sunday attacks by suicide group Omar bin Khattab in the towns of Kafr Tal and Kafr Amma. Syrian military responded to the bombing of the city with bombs, artillery, and missiles, while the Russian aviation destroyed fighting positions in the rear. Extremist gangs have stepped up murderous attacks against military positions in residential areas under the administration of the Syrian government. In Iran, Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian met with his Turkish counterpart Hakan Fidan in Tehran. The meeting is part of both nations' commitment to strengthen comprehensive cooperative relations. The Turkish diplomat's agenda includes meetings with Iranian government authorities with the aim of increasing bilateral cooperation. This is Minister Fidan's first visit to Iran as Turkey's foreign minister. In Indonesia, leaders of member countries of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, met to strengthen the cooperation mechanism at their 43rd summit. Malaysian Foreign Minister Samri Abd Qadir said that unity and harmony among members are crucial, especially as ASEAN establishes itself as the engine of a peaceful and stable region. The diplomat expressed concern about the state of the emergency in Myanmar and about the deteriorating economic situation, continuing violence, and limited humanitarian access in the country. The Prime Minister of Vietnam, Pham Minh Chinh, assured that ASEAN is fully capable of asserting its position in a multipolar world, as well as its central position in regional cooperation. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.